Hello, 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 hello. My name is Boitumelo Keoagile, the host of Blossom with Boi. Today we are here to talk about self-care. Do you know what self-care is? Do you know how to take care of yourself, people around you? But mostly the question or the we are centered around self, myself, Boitumelo. What are the routines that I do to take care of myself? What could happen that is bad, or maybe the impact of not taking good care of myself? What are the benefits of me taking care of myself? Especially in the world that we live in these days, we are working moms, we are business women, we are corporate boys, we are farmers, and a whole lot of things. And for us to be able to navigate life these days, we need to be intentional. We need to, at times, take a step and pause and say, am I well? So today we are going to be talking about self-care, which I already said, and what are the practices that we do. It can be something very small. It doesn't have to be something very luxurious. It doesn't have to be something very expensive. It can start like going to do my nails. Like, my nails are done, and I've been doing this self practice for over 2 years now. No matter how much I can be, like, my budget can be tight, my nails have to be done. It's a self practice that I do every month for myself. And also for other women, mostly it can be doing your nails, it can be going to the spa. What does it mean, me going to the spa? Most of the time we do heavy work, or maybe type a lot. We carry a lot of things. We do a lot of manual work, and massages tend to relax our bodies and help us to be in sync with ourselves. And also for men as well, massages are not only for women, guys. I remember the last time at work, we had a Father's Day event, goodies that we were buying for our staff members. So men were very reluctant to have vouchers for massages because they are not used to having men going for massages or their bodies being touched. But we need to start being okay with such practices of taking care of ourselves. These things are not only designed for women, they're also designed for men. It's time we start taking good care of ourselves. And at times when your woman goes for her spa treatment, tag along. Women, we should also take our men. It's okay. Valentine is coming. It's okay for you to buy the voucher for him and start saying, hey, can we just go for a spa date? And also, it can also start by taking time off from work. Like corporate boys works a lot, entrepreneurs works a lot. So the load can be too much for you to be navigating family, going to work every day, maybe knocking out very late, having the responsibility of being a leader, and then being a dad. Like, you can be a dad, you are a friend, you are a son, you are a brother. And what are the things that you do for you to take a break? It's okay for you to just relax at times. Take a day off, stay home, or maybe go to a hotel, just sit by the pool, just unwind, and then think, relax your mind. At times, that 30 minutes just to take and pause and say, or recharge, or maybe reconnect with your thoughts. It's very helpful. We can take it for granted, but it's very helpful to our body and our mental health. It also prevents burnout. We tend to think that overworking ourselves is very result orientated, but at times it can be a hindrance, or maybe even affect performance, or even cause disgruntlement. When you are overworked or overloaded, you can't think clearly at times, especially during crisis, or when you are expected to solve problems. You can't engage yourself further to the maximum capability. So you engaging in just a solitude moment, or just relaxing, or normalizing, just taking one day off, or maybe just a weekend off, maybe taking time away from your family as well. We are used to thinking that always being with our kids, with our wives is the it thing. Yes, it's important to have family time, but it's also important to have your alone time with yourself and also with God, because we tend to listen for from things from God. When are you going to have time to listen, especially to feed your soul, and also to listen for the things that will inspire you from God, because you are the tool that needs to be used by God. And also, when we tend to be taking time off, you learn skills, especially in the corporate world, like delegation. Delegation helps you to unload or maybe unpack things that are too much for you. You share responsibilities, and along the way, you coach other or mentor other people into taking on responsibilities. And the work becomes more efficient and effective, and also things gets easier for you. You can also manage to have 20 minutes in between. You don't need to be always engaged. You can ask somebody to say or maybe do something that could have been done by you. You have time now for strategic things. And what does self-care look like as well for a mom? It can look like you taking your kids to the, what do you call it, taking your kids to the neighbors or maybe to the grandparents. It's okay. I know we live in the culture where these days we are very intentional about who we take our children to or where we take our children to. Like take them to the farm, take them to play dates, or maybe engage them in activities that they teach them to be self-reliant, so that you can also relax and be comfortable, or maybe just be in tune with yourself, and also catch up with your friends, because it's also a form of recharging or self-care, just spending time with your friends. And also, what are the other things that we can do for self-care? It's going for events, going for self-empowering events like the one that I'm planning that is upcoming. By the way, like I started the intro, I'm an events planner, a wellness events planner. I plan big events, guys. You should come to one of the events that I'm planning. It's on the 29th of March at Grand Palm. It starts from 9 to 5, and it has amazing international speakers like Mpumi Lidwaba. Guys, do you know Mpumi? We all love Mpumi. She has a new book that she just released. How did you get here? The book is amazing. The reviews are amazing. I've read it myself. I love it, and I can't wait to hear Mpumi, to get into Mpumi's head when she tells us, Hore, how did she get here? Because when I read the book, I felt like I felt so relieved. I felt like the weight has been lifted out of my shoulders. And I would recommend the book to anyone who is into self-care, especially Black women. In our community, we go through a lot of things, or maybe mostly tormenting things, which we are trying to unlearn and to heal from. And that book is, it's very honest and very vulnerable. Mpimuri was really vulnerable when she was writing the book. And for us to heal, we need authenticity to remove shame and stigma. And I love the book so much. And also Brandon, guys. Do you know Brandon? He was the first runner-up for the Idols in South Africa. We all know Idols. Well, I'm not going to lie or pretend to say I'm an Idols fan. No, I'm not. But I'm a big fan of Brandon. Guys, you should come to the event. And Kels will be also playing. We have maybe I can touch on what the speakers will be talking about, because it's a self-care. It's called, the theme is a self-care journey to personal development and fulfillment. We live in the days where we are struggling to find our identity, or maybe ourself, or maybe to flourish because of the experiences that we've been through in our lives. And the panelists, I really, when I was shortlisting them, I was very intentional. I wanted every Motswana or any person who would come to the event to come out of that event with thought-provoking thoughts that will cause them to want to pursue personal development or healing, or maybe to go and look back, where am I lacking? Or maybe try to go on a journey of self-awareness and improve their emotional intelligence. We have, Mpumi will be talking about purposeful driven life. We do know that when you don't have a vision, you don't have direction in life. So she'll be mostly helping us to get intentional about purpose in our lives, because purpose is what drives us. And we'll be talking also, who will be talking to the panelists will be Khaonedin to. We know in our lives or in our community, mostly in marriages, when we don't have children, there's so much shame and stigma that is surrounding everything. You can even lose your husband because there's this word in Setswana mo go teng o tlhatswa lesure leng, mme go sa itse, people would not know. Or maybe in English, I could say, when are you having the child after marriage? And people don't know the reasons why you can't have children. And maybe it could be due to some health issues, or maybe you don't want to have children. And Khaone was diagnosed with endo, and she started talking about her journey to try to educate and break stigma surrounding issues of misconception. I hope she'll be able to heal one or two people from her conversations, because people carry shame and some people cannot even share their struggles. And we want to create a platform where we can say, hey, whatever situation or whatever challenge that you are facing, we are here with you. We can walk this journey with you. One of the panelists that we have as well is Tepisom Gaga. She lost her husband during COVID. We know we want to, at most of the time when we get married, our identity is just surrounded around marriage, our husband, and children. And when that one of these things gets taken away from us, we lose ourselves. So Tepiso will be talking about her journey, re-identifying herself after losing her husband. And she's also a businesswoman. We also have Kingdom, who is a trauma therapist. Do you know what trauma is? Trauma can change people, their behavior, their thinking patterns. And we really want Kingdom to break down to a Motswana, an ordinary Motswana at home. And even intellectuals, they tend to miss or not know what trauma is and the impact of it on your everyday behavior and also on your thinking patterns. And if you are a working person, how can trauma, if you've been traumatized, how can it affect your work and those around you? We are trying to create a platform of learning or removing stigma, or even trying to close the gaps and bring tools that can best support people around us. And lastly, there are a lot of speakers, but I'm not going to go into detail into every one of it. But also the other person who will be speaking would be Dr. No, there's no doctor. I'm thinking of Dr. Mdongo. She's one of the panelists from our previous event, and her name keeps popping into my head. But one of the panelists that we have is Mother K. Masire. Mother K, wow, I love her. She's one of the people that helped me during depression when I was struggling. Mother is very special to me. And I remember when I was struggling with falling asleep, she would, I don't know, I forgot the name in wellness. What do you call it? Where you, more like a lullaby. You know, when you are trying to put a baby to sleep, she'll connect, we'll talk through WhatsApp, and she'll be singing lullabies to me. And until I fall asleep, the phone call would not stop. And she really helped me a lot. And I love Mother. She's very intentional about wellness. And she also helped me with being intentional about mindfulness. She'll be talking about mindfulness and holistic well-being. The event will be at Grand Palm. We have a number of sponsors like Mercedes-Benz, Ano, Yarona FM, Air Botswana, Health by Bells, Candy Media, and quite a number of sponsors. And I'm excited to be sponsored by those people. And we cannot wait to have an experience that is going to be fitting enough for all of you. And also the theme for the event, or maybe the dress code, is pop of color. Can you see that I'm wearing a pop of color? Maybe I should have reserved my outfit for the event, but nonetheless, I will see what to do. And also, I'll be dressed by Botosi Creations, my usual sponsor, or maybe my usual designer for the day. I am very excited about this event because the reason why I'm doing this, because people like asking me, why do you invest so much in events or stuff like this? It's because when I started this journey, it just started with it was in 2019. There was an event called Web 19 hosted by Michelle Petter. I bought myself a ticket. It was just 650 pula. And back then, we all know how 600 pula, 650 was such a large amount of money. And by the way, I was not even earning much, guys. If I could tell you how much I was earning. So it really made me very intentional about getting the ticket for myself and attending the event. And ever since I started that, I have been hooked into personal development. I never stop. I even travel outside the country for personal development events. It has improved on how I see things, on how I process information around me, on how I present myself or package myself. And also it has really helped me in terms of we live in the times of branding, right? If you want to be a professional who wants to be perceived, or maybe go up the corporate ladder, not that I'm obsessed about going up the corporate ladder, you really need to package yourself, or maybe there are certain attributes or that needs to be taken care of, or that needs to be grown or maybe nurtured on you. So I've been really intentional on nurturing such attributes, like focusing so much on personal development. I read books. If you could, I could just go to Exclusive Books. Yes, Exclusive Books is one of our sponsors. Before I forget, one of our sponsors, they've been sponsoring us for so many years. Back to my story now. I would go to Exclusive Books, buy books as to the budget of 3,000. I remember in 2019, I bought books as many, like they costed me close to 4,000, 3 point something. And I would buy a book anytime. I prioritize my personal development these days like nothing else. I read motivational things. I read spiritual things. I read just about business as well, and entrepreneurship, because we really need to be balanced in anything that we want to develop. Like, for instance, if I focus on financial literacy only and I'm lacking in spiritual things, or maybe I'm lacking in my intellectual life, or maybe in my emotional life, we are going to be there's going to be a misalignment. And now, me trying to get a balance in my life, I use the wellness wheel, which guides me. Oh, in this area, where am I lacking? And whenever I realize that I'm lacking somewhere, that is where I keep my intention and focus on. And also, what are the practices that we could do to show that we are taking care of ourselves? It can be going to church every Sunday and committing to the word, reading the word and understanding what the word means in the Bible, reading motivational things like in podcasts. There are really building podcasts out there which has content that is Christian related, or maybe if you are not a Christian, it's if you are a Buddhist or Islamic, it's Buddhist related. But one of the things that I would like to highlight more is understanding that if we don't have a balance in our lives, or maybe create that 5 minutes to take a break and recharge yourself, it can cost you. And also, one of the things that I also learned through my journey is some people, or maybe I've observed that you may say it's wrong or right, but one of the things that we really need for us to go further, or maybe to learn self-care, is learn to network. Networking in eventing, it helps us mostly. It enhances certain skills like negotiation, problem solving, critical thinking. When you are in, let's say you go to an event like a Forbes event, there's a Forbes event coming on the 5th of March in Pretoria. It's for women in leadership. So if you get to mingle with people like that, like-minded people, or maybe you are trying to penetrate into that market, you expose yourself to be in an environment where people think high, and you tend to push yourself to be in that space. So now, how do we get there? By allowing ourselves to be okay with being uncomfortable in such spaces. It will start being uncomfortable. By being uncomfortable, you'll be feeling scared, worry, oh, I don't belong, this and that. But that is the start of it. You need to start taking action and being accountable and say, for me to be confident, for me to get that job that I'm looking for me to know how to start a deal from the beginning to the end and negotiate to open and close a deal, I need to learn how to network. For me to learn to work under pressure, I need to be exposed to people who think along those lines. If maybe, for instance, I have a passion for property or real estate, if you want to be a badass real estate person, you need to expose yourself to the industry where every day they are closing deals and it's a very high pressurizing environment. So now what do I need for me to learn to survive in that environment? You need to learn how to work under pressure. You need to learn in an environment where you can make decisions by yourself. You don't have to ask for somebody to okay something for you. You need to learn to make decisions that includes finances. Can you cut costs? Could you make radical decisions without maybe making the company look bad or lose something? And can you also protect the brand for the company? So these are the things where when also you are in the networking space or maybe in environment like that, what are the skills that you need? The soft skills. These soft skills, where do we learn them? Mostly we learn them through just listening or maybe being there or maybe being taught. At times you need to be taught on how to be a public speaker. Like right now, podcasting, it's not like I'm learning as I walk, but I know there are some classes that I can take for me to be really appealing to certain market. But also there's somewhere that you have to start somewhere. But also, what can you do for you to be a professional speaker? Like for instance, for you to get to what's the word? For me to get to the face kana nkare the status it's above vusi themba kwayo. There have to be intensive training and intentionality for me to be such a public speaker, but also understanding hore I have to start somewhere. When I start, I cannot be there from the beginning. There have to be gradual effort that is put and gradual effort that is going to be making a difference. And when we see a difference and when we see intentionality, people are going to start supporting you. So all we need to do is for us to start and also to put the effort. It's time for us, for Botswana, to develop ourselves. I'm not going to be here and be critical and say, because I know you are going to come for me anyway. I'm going to say, for instance, I've stopped drinking. I used to be drinking. And if let's say, for instance, it's weekend. On one weekend, you go to a restaurant or maybe a night out. It's a month end. And how much do you spend in going out? Like tomorrow you go to, I'm not going to name any restaurant. You go to so and so restaurant and then you drink maybe 2,000 pula. The following day, you come home, you are, I forgot what's the term for babalasi in English. And tabs, what's the word for babalasi in English? Hangover. Yeah, you are hangover and then you can't remember anything, but you have spent 2,000. But in the personal development space, which we are trying to promote, that 2,000 pula, you buy one book at exclusive books or any bookstore, and you start reading it, or maybe you enroll for a course that offers you a certificate after, or maybe you go to an event which can help you to absorb new skills and practices that can nobody can take from you. It's really high time we start being intentional about our lives if we want to be somewhere in life. We really need to teach ourselves to be committed and choose these things that really matter into our lives. Yes, once in a while, or maybe often, we can do whatever that we want to do, but in moderation. Anything that is done not in moderation can be harmful. So if we are going to be drinking, drink it. My pastor will like saying, as long as you are doing it in the bedroom with your wife or whatever. But if you know that when you are taking more out there is a lot of humiliation and other things, that consequential things that you can be engaged in the next day. Know that alcohol can destroy your life. Some people are still recovering from traumatic experiences, and we use alcohol as a way to start to run away from our problems. But does it solve anything? Because when you get sober after being drunk for one day, your problem is still going to be there the next day. I'm not here to to judge those who are drinking, but to just encourage and say, once it's a journey, and I didn't wake up and just be sober. And I know as well, I've been sober for like a year and some few months now. It's hard, I know, but it's something that we can all do for us to live a life that is fulfilled and purpose driven. And also, it's part of a self-care practice. You can drink in moderation with your friends as long as it's limited, because at times we can do self-care things which can later turn out into hurtful things or maybe painful things. Like, for instance, is the youth these days. There are so many accidents. People die when they do drunken driving. And it will start with us saying, hey, we are taking self-care routines or self-care practices. So anything that is not done in moderation can end up in a disaster. So if you drink, maybe you are drinking with your friends and you are home, and you don't need to be hopping from one venue to the other. When you are maybe after drinking and you feel like you've drinking enough, call a cab, call and drive, call maybe your sober friend. You can call me, I can drive you since I don't have a car. You can give me the keys to your car and I can drive you around since I'm a sober person. I'll be saving your life. And that is basically what I want to promote in self-care. And also, it can also mean just cooking. You can, if you love cooking, doing things that you love, you can sit on the kitchen all day cooking nice things. Or maybe it doesn't have to be anything very expensive, or it doesn't have. Like I normally see in Foodies Botswana, there's a page called Foodies Botswana. That page, I think there's a lot of self-care there and self-love. People really post nice things. At times, you don't have to go to a restaurant for you to experience anything nice. You can curate something beautiful, and your soul will feel filled and well taken of. It's nice to eat nice food, and it's nice to wake up and wear nice outfit. Like I'm dressed today, I'm dressed like I can seal any deal right now, and I feel myself. And let's say if I go to the airport right now, or I go to Grand Palm right now, and I meet an investor, he can take a risk on me. So it's high time we take risk on ourselves. It's high time we start taking risks, like investing in personal development, taking time for our spirituality. we go to church on Sunday, not just to go to church just for the fun of it, listening to what is being said and trying to and learning to walk the journey with Christ and being saved. And it has been an exciting journey for me to be saved. Anyone who knows me would know that I don't promote anything that doesn't work. I'm a radical person. I believe in things that brings change. And my journey with God has really brought change to my life. And I don't think if I had not embarked on this journey, or maybe if God hasn't called me, I wouldn't be sitting here in the first place. And I'm saying, let us give God a chance to use us, and it will help us to love ourselves more, because sometimes we find meaning in things that don't mean anything, and we think that is self-love or self-care. But our most high priority self-care is God. And our most high priority self-care routine is going to church on Sunday, is having the time for the word, and having time for, if you have home cells like our church does, you go for home cell. Or if you have time for, what do you call it? Kosabata, they call it Bible study. Yes. So other churches call it Bible study. The word can really help you to decharge and to really see yourself in a better light and not be in the mud a lot. So read the Bible and go to church, which is word-based. It teaches the word of God, and be intentional about your spirituality. You'll see a change in your life. And I encourage Botswana to be really very intentional about changing their lives. And because I would really love to see us changing as a nation, and our community changing. This will mean an improvement in social issues that we have right now. Like, for instance, there's a new social issue that is going to cause some concern or even death. Or it's scary. The Trump recently canceled the development is close. We know how HIV used to be. It's not like I'm being out of the topic. It's one of these things that I was talking about, social issues, then it ran to my head. Trump took away the USAID care for African countries. And we know how much Botswana relies in America. And we have families, the loved ones that we love, and our friends who are on ARVs. And some of them were the ones distributing the ARVs. They were employees. So what does it mean? It means high escalation in unemployment. It means and unexpected employment. I mean, imagine you had loans. Imagine you had a family to feed. Imagine you had children who are going to private schools. Your lifestyle is going to drastically change like that. And are you prepared psychologically for such a change? I don't think so. And also, if this thing is not handled in a more robust way, people can lose their lives. And what does it mean? It means us changing our lifestyles, and it means us trying to implement the self-care practices that I was talking about. So with that being said, I would really love to say, let's prioritize ourselves. Let's prioritize our mental being. Let's prioritize people around us. I will always go back to leadership. I will always go back to caregiving and parenting, because these things, when, let's say, as a mom, my daughter by now already knows that I'm big on self-care. This morning, she was like, Mom, there's a gym, whatever, for kids here where we stay. She was like, Mom, I'm going for my morning routine. But it was just an excuse for her to go and play. And also when she's speaking at times, she'll just mention how she has a morning routine, because at times I do my morning sit-ups and exercise here. She'll be watching me. So it's something that is inheritable, or something that's a good habit somebody can learn from you. So if we teach our children from an early age, or people around us from living with intentionality, it's a good thing. So I really love to say, let us be people who are, what can I say, who teaches good things. We are not striving for perfection, but we are striving for a healthy lifestyle together. We are going to miss some steps along the way, yes, but is the willingness for us to carry ourselves when we fall and try again. We are not going to shame ourselves when we miss the steps, and we are not going to be calling ourselves failures. No. And it's also okay for us to take a break when these things don't work out, then they don't work out. I remember in 2024, I couldn't do my annual event because of financial issues. I took a break. It doesn't mean like I remember what it doesn't mean like I failed anything. It was a time for me to go back into my strategy and see the areas that I can maybe improve or the gaps that I can close. But I would not allow myself to be called or maybe a failure or maybe allow any thought of saying, hey, I failed 2024. Why couldn't I go on with the event? It just means that there were not enough resources, or maybe people were not ready enough to attend the event. So I took a break to revisit my brand strategy and see what can I improve and where can I improve it. And this year I'm back again with a bang, and I'm ready to host you. And I know that I'm gonna make you even forget that last year there was no event. And with that being said, I would like to say thank you for watching Blossom with Bowie. And I love that you share the content with your colleagues, with people around us, because the more you share, the more knowledge you create for other people, or information sharing is a very good thing because you are educating somebody. It can be one person that you are changing a life with. Also from here, I'll be reading the comments from the previous recording, my first recording, and I'll be reading the encouragement that I got from the people who subscribe. The first comment is from Jacinta, one of my home cell leaders. I love her to be so supportive. She's saying, congratulations, we look forward to more. And then there's Dixie BW. Love this for you, Bui. And we have Haone Makia. We are here. Cheers to more beautiful podcasts. And we have Ziba Charles. She was on this show with Steve Harvey, Family Feuds. She was featured on Family Feuds with her family. She said, congratulations on the first of many beautiful conversations. Mental health is a subject close to my life. Thank you. And then we have Ephraim Malefo. Yay! She was one of my boys. Congratulations and keep flying high. And we have Tommy Muswele, which ursendile di bubbles like boo, 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 boo. And then we have Nora McAslin. She's my doll. She said, congratulations, doll. Thank you, Nora. And then there's Edla Zaza, who's saying great. We appreciate feedback because feedback makes us to help to improve in things that we want to improve. Don't be shy to say anything that you feel like the podcast can improve, or maybe topics, or it can be anything, as long as we are very respectful and there's mutual respect. I don't mind feedback, and I love feedback because it helps me grow as a person. And I love that you took your time to engage and congratulate me, because it's never easy to start anything new, especially something that you are not trained to do. I'm here exposing myself and trying to share my journey and educate people on topics that people like to shy away from. With that being said, I would like to say thank you for watching. I cannot wait to host you in the next recording, and we'll be having a visitor. I hope you are excited for him, and you can share the content that we have been sharing and posting in our podcast. Thank you and bye.